No, absolutely. I mean, we have the same frustration that the Strait of Hormuz is not open. And that's why we are discussing with our partners here, what can we do? I think it is very important that we cannot legitimize, any requests for taxing or tolling the trade routes that have been open. I mean, this is a very dangerous route if we go down that road, because there are other waterways in the world that could be next, and it has a huge impact on the world economy. I mean, the gas and oil going to mostly to Asia, but also to Europe, the fertilizers going to Africa. I mean, if you don't have fertilizers this year, you're going to be having a famine next year. So we are really trying to work with our partners, also push UN to have clear stance that this has to be opened.
The EU statement just earlier this week welcoming the ceasefire, and it said, and I quote here, governments will contribute to ensure freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. So let's be very specific here. What does that look like in this new context?
Well, of course, different member states have also had different approaches to this. So, like I said, we have naval operation Aspides that is already in the region. If the member states want, we can also extend the mandate of that operation. There is a discussion of the coalition of the willing, but that is also after the cessation of hostilities. Then there are member states who are also providing the air defense cover. So there is a lot that we can do, but we have to be here together with our Gulf partners and actually international community that it has to be open.
Do you understand? I listen to what you're saying, and I hear the criticism that Europe is just a talking shop, that this region doesn't see the sort of action it wants to see. How long would a coalition of the willing, for example, take to build for the Strait of Hormuz?
Let's be honest, we haven't created the situation. Second, we are doing a lot for the region. If you think about, like I mentioned, the naval operation we have in the region to keep the Red Sea open. If you think about the support for Lebanese armed forces to fight, to disarm Hezbollah. If you think about the support for the two-state solution or the Palestinian Authority that we are actually, really giving. If you think about, the air defense and all the things that we are actually doing for this region, then I feel that this is really unfair. That of course we can all do more, but then the question is, we also have our security theater in Europe. We have Russia's war against Ukraine going on for 4 years. We haven't seen really the Gulf countries helping us there, whereas it can't be only one-way street, that it goes to this direction and then there is no response. If you think about Russia now helping Iran, if you think about some of the Gulf countries who have been helping to circumvent the sanctions that we have against Iran, that now they are able to attack these countries. So if we would be in it together like our adversaries clearly are, then we would be much stronger.
The US, Donald Trump very specifically, has described NATO as a paper tiger. Following his meeting with the Secretary General Mark Rutte, he said, they weren't there when we needed them. They won't be there again if we need them. It is a criticism, I know, echoed through this Gulf region. I understand the Europeans didn't want this war. They've kept their support to a defensive posture. How concerned are you about the US position with regard NATO at this point?
Well, NATO is the strongest defense alliance there is in the world, and we need to keep it that way. We need to strengthen NATO, not weaken it. And of course, all the misunderstandings that we have between each other are definitely weakening it. And, coming from a country that lost actually a lot of soldiers in the wars that, US asked us to participate, it is very, very painful to hear that this has all been in vain. I mean, hundreds of thousands of European soldiers fought in Afghanistan, in Iraq, because US asked us to. And now to say that we have not done anything, I mean, this is, not true and not fair.
Do you fear retribution from the US at this point? Does Europe fear retribution?
Well, we need to definitely keep, NATO together and not go into these disputes, because who are benefiting from this are our adversaries, because when we are not together, we are both weaker. I mean, that applies to US as much as it applies to Europe. So in this volatile security situation in the world, we really need to work together to make it stronger and not weaker.
Let me just bring it back to this region. The EU had been rapidly progressing a EU Gulf partnership, very much deeper and more effective Gulf partnership going forward. Do you worry that that is on the rocks at this point?
No, actually, I think the opposite, because we have been there for the Gulf countries, and when we are talking, then we see a lot of more cooperation points on security and defense, for example. That hasn't been the topic before, but now clearly we see, the beneficial partnership on both sides when it comes to security and defense as well. So rather, we are strengthening our cooperation.